showing we don't need roads.
Steven Spielberg is my favorite director. I think he's the greatest director of all time. And this film is just so fascinating because now I feel like I'm getting a new perspective on his entire filmography now that I know who he is. So thinking about all the films he's made, which one do you now see the most different because of this new insight into who he is as a person and a filmmaker?
Probably Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which is a film he wrote. You know what's interesting? The relationship between Richard Dreyfuss and his wife is a very unconventional path for a marriage to take in a film, and it's something that, as someone who inherently analyzes and dissects films, it's something I would say was confused by it. It always stood out to me as a odd choice and one that works and doesn't harm the movie in any way, and it's one of my favorite movies, but something that I always was like, it's just strange.
And he famously says now that he has kids and a family that the whole idea of leaving, he can't wrap his brain around.
Well, exactly, but now knowing kind of what his childhood was like more, and you know, the unconventional path that his family took at times, I think like it actually added more insight into that movie specifically, that, and it seems like now it's someone who's like kind of reconciling and grappling with their childhood in a very specific way. For sure.
It must be the family dynamic in Close Encounters and realizing that, that is from his brain and his life experience.
In spirit, I think he was in Schindler's List deeply. Whether I know the story must have been brought to him, but I could feel that one. The other ones, the fantasy ones, are just, you know, I got the feeling, if you just think of all of Spielberg's work, they're all for children. I don't care which ones. Even this one is a tale told about himself to children. The effect he wants, you can feel it, right? And what I told him just after I saw the movie was, your movies have a future. They all do. They never end without saying, and so they go. And so they go on. You know what I'm saying?
I'm thinking of all of his last shots, and you're right. I'm thinking of...
hopefulness. Hopefulness. But it's not corny. It's not corny. It's real. You know, you live in times when everything is kind of acerbic and mean and whatnot, and you just want someone to say, no. Life is not like that. It's like this.
Well, one of the biggest things that's changed is actually not even just the films he's directed, but the films that he's helped cultivate and produce, because I think you see lots of hints of it in this film. You know, the light coming out of the closet and the tornado, and there's just so many. It's like his well, you know, is his childhood. So all these stories, not even the ones he's directed, have sort of started from those very powerful memories that he had as a kid.
I think what I find really inspiring is to see his childhood still so alive for him, and that it does continue to be a place that he can revisit and draw from and continue to find so much inspiration. And I think, you know, and you see it all over his work, and this is the first time that he has allowed himself to be so unvarnished as to say, I'm not even going to I'm not going to hide behind anything, and I'm going to let you in. I'm going to let you inside my heart.
John Williams is an absolute genius. I know he was there last night, which is incredible. John Williams announced recently that he is going to retire from scoring film, which is just breaks my heart. Which means after 50 years of collaborations, you are in the very last Steven Spielberg, John Williams.
I bet he'll keep doing Steven Spielberg.
I'd be curious to see.
Genius.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Your favorite John Williams, Steven Spielberg collaboration?
Jaws, but I don't know. It's really, it just makes you appreciate this industry and how difficult it is and how many people it takes to make a movie. And for these two geniuses to have worked together for half a decade.
Isn't that crazy?
It's insane. And so to feel a part of that, It's amazing.
When I was cast in the movie, that was like the second thought was like, I get to be in a Steven Spielberg movie and I get to be in a movie that John Williams is going to score, which is, yeah, it's amazing.
Have you ever heard the Schindler's List story?
No.
There's one of my favorite stories of all time. John Williams said to Steven Spielberg, you deserve a better composer for a film like this. And Steven Spielberg replied, sure, but they're all dead. Which I just think is such a fantastic story.
I know.
It cannot be understated that John Williams, is also one of the great film artists of all time. That contribution that he's made, I mean, it is like Steven, culture shaping. You cannot say that about a lot of things and a lot of people. My favorite. So you go first on favorite score.
I don't know.
I mean, I was of course thinking just of the music of VT when they lift off of Right Now. He's got so many though, I love his score in this film because I think it's different. There's like a restraint to it that's so beautiful and so in line with Mitzi's playing. Yeah, the way Steven talks about John is like really beautiful too.
I was actually I think like Indiana Jones is probably like the most iconic one.
The Raiders March, you can't.
The Raiders March.
Yeah.
It's hard to mess with the Raiders March. When I first started dating my wife, her cell phone ring was the Jurassic Park theme.
Yes, that's my favorite.
Probably
of
drew
his.
us together.
That's love.
Yeah, exactly. And it was hard. That was like almost 20 years ago, so it was hard to get a.
She paid like 99 cents for that.
Exactly. It's not easy to do. So yeah, I think those two have special meaning to me, probably.
One of the ideas is presented in this film, which is the power of images. I think at one point you talk about the fact that a movie is nothing but a bunch of images strung together, and I don't think any filmmaker has crafted more iconic single shots, images than Steven Spielberg, whether it's E.T. in front of the moon or the boulder or the girl in the red coat. If you had to pick the quintessential Spielberg image in that you could take it, walk into the middle of Times Square, point at it, and everyone would be able to go, that's Steven Spielberg.
To me, it's probably from Jurassic Park. It's probably that cup of the water with the ripples. There's few shots of objects that are as iconic as that one. It's there's like epic shots that are easy to pick, a man getting chased by a giant rolling boulder, but like to make a shot of a cup iconic, that's hard.
And to the point, like Wayne's World used it as like a spoof.
It's like still to this day you people rip off that shot.
You got to do it.
It's a shot of a cup.
I mean, E.T. or Jaws, those are the biggest things he's done. But for me, I mean, it's for me, it's the Fabelmans, because that was this incredibly personal experience that I could have with him, and I mean that it was a huge deal for me, and it meant a lot to me making it, and it means a lot to me watching it, and to be a part of this press tour and get to hang out with these guys I made this movie with, and yeah, I mean it's for me it'll be the Fabelmans.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.